It's not even giving what y'all said it was supposed to give. No, I wasted my money.
I want some of your brown sugar. I want some of your brown sugar. I want some of your brown sugar.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. This is Brownsugar Commentary, and I'm your girl, Kayla. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more videos about Black entertainment, Black womanhood, and whatever heck else I feel like talking about this week. All right, let's get right into it. So we're going to be talking about Dear White People today, child. We're going to be talking about the Netflix original series, Dear White People, because the final season came out almost like, what is it? It's been about a month now, or almost a month since it came out. And I tried to watch this season, y'all, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and it made me so mad because I used to love this show so damn much, and to sit and watch the way that this show just completely just fumbled the bag in such a crazy way, it has to be discussed. Like, it has to be. So we got to get into it, okay? So for those of y'all that don't know what Dear White People is, I'm here to read y'all the Wikipedia page, just to give y'all a cute little whatever. But Dear White People is an American comedy drama streaming television series on Netflix that follows several Black college students at an Ivy League institution, the fictional Winchester University, touching on issues surrounding modern American race relations through a progressive lens. It is based on the 2014 film of the same name. The film's writer and director, Justin Simeon, returned to write and direct episodes of the series. The series stars Logan Browning, Brandon P. Bell, Deron Horton, and Antoinette Robinson. Each episode focuses on a particular character except for the finale. Netflix ordered 10 30-minute episodes, and its first season released on April 28th, 2017. And then the final season came out September 22nd, 2021. So yeah, like I said, it's been about a month now. So when Dear White People, the movie came out, I remember watching it. I think I watched it like a year after it came out. And I remember it had like really great reviews. And I remember watching it, and I was at the time, like, I want to say either a sophomore in college. Yes. When I watched it, and I remember really enjoying the movie because I felt like for the first time I felt seen. Like my experiences felt valid and seen because for the most part, when it comes to Black people being portrayed in college, it's usually like the HBCU experience, like, A Different World, Drumline, Stomp the Yard. And while that's dope, like that's great, and I love the, like, that A Different World is my favorite show of all time, as well as I enjoy me some, well, it's not the end, but I love Drumline. But, like, that's not the only experience that Black people are having in college. Like, there are plenty more, like, there's a whole, other experience, which is just Black people at predominantly white institutions. And, like, it's never really been explored in a movie before. And so to see it in a movie this way, especially in the way that the social climate is today, like the post Barack Obama era, it was really cool to see. And so when they announced in, 2017, when they were going to make a television show about it, I was like, oh my God, like, what? I am here for it, 100%. And for the most part, like, our first season was great. The only difference was in the film, Tessa Thompson and Tyler James Williams starred as Sam and Lionel, respectively. And now it was Logan Browning that was doing Sam, and Deron Horton, right? His name? Yes, playing Lionel. So that was the only changes. Everyone else was originally in the film as far as I remember. So while at first I wasn't super here for Logan Browning being Sam because I liked, and I still have a preference for Tessa Thompson's portrayal of Sam a little bit more. But I do like Logan Brown, and I'm familiar with her as an actress because she was on Meet the Browns way back in the day, as well as her being on the show on VH1 called Hit the Floor. And she made for a great villain, like a great villain. And that's the show that they fumbled the bag. That's another show that fumbled the bag completely, but that's another conversation for another day. But I wasn't familiar with the guy that played Lionel. And of course, we all know Tyler James Williams because Everybody Hates Chris, and he's a phenomenal actor. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I got used to both of them playing him, but I still kind of wish that they kept those two for the whole show. I'm not quite sure why they couldn't come back, but whatever. So Yeah. So first season was good. I mean, it was basically a rehash of the movie. It was just more in depth, and you can flesh out storylines more and make more, build the world a little bit more, give us more insight on who the characters are, which they couldn't really do in the movie because it's a movie. You got so much time, but now you have an entire show. And like I said, the great thing about Dear White People is that each episode focused on a particular character and it has narration. So it gives a good flow to each episode. You're constantly kind of always knowing what's going on. Like I said, it gives you enough time to get to know each character individually, what their motivations are, who they are, all that good stuff. And so I really like the fact that they formatted the show this way. And yeah, I thought the first season was really good. And then the second season came, and I felt the second season was pretty decent. Because, sometimes television shows are based off of movies. The second season kind of sucks because I feel like they kind of lost. Like, they don't know what to do anymore because they don't really have the movie. Except the second season, they still kind of had the movie because everything that happened in the second season was kind of the fallout of what happened in the movie. So they still kind of relied on the movie a little bit, but it was still good. Then season 3 came, and I felt like they was just lost in the sauce, honey. Like, it was just like, what are we doing? Like, it just felt hella confusing because they got rid of the whole narration thing and the focusing on each character thing. It was very confusing, like I just said. And it didn't feel like the show that we were getting used to for the past 2 seasons. Like, they were focusing on characters we don't care about. They were focusing on things we don't care about. And the thing that annoyed me the most was the fact they had like this self-aware type of humor that was just like, what did we do? Like, it's like they knew it was bad and they were trying to excuse it. Because they were like, I remember one character was like, oh, and they made several jokes, but this is the one I remember the most, was like, oh, junior year is like, a third season of a Netflix series, like it's just a hot mess. And it's like, so this is bad. Like, what are we doing? So, but then when they announced that season 4 was going to be the last season, I was like, okay, well, at least it didn't get the Get Down treatment where it just gets canceled. We don't know what happens. Even though the last season really didn't end on a cliffhanger. Like I said, it felt like it knew it was going to get canceled or something. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just like the 4th season though, like I was just like excited because, at least we get to get a conclusion. Maybe it will be better because the 3rd season sucked and, all this stuff. And then we got the trailer. We got the freaking trailer and we found out that this season was going to be a musical. And not like, oh, we're just going to have a musical episode. No, every episode there will be singing. And I was just like, for why? Who asked for this? Who asked for this? Like, I just want to know. Why did we think this was the route we had to go? Why we go with this route? All the routes we could have went. And we decided to do a musical? Why? And then, I remember I looked up an interview of the guy who made the show, who I'm going to talk about the end of all of this. But he was like, I just wanted to do it. Like, I just wanted to do a musical. And I was just like, why didn't you just make a musical show then? Or just do a musical episode? Why did all 10 episodes involve singing, especially when majority of your cast cannot sing? Why, Justin? Why? So this is Kayla in editing, and I found an article basically trying to explain why the creator decided to make the last season a musical. And he says that it was the perfect metaphor for how Black people exist in white spaces. This is coming from insider.com. And he said, we've been wanting to do a musical episode from the beginning because the show always breaks into the surreality of someone's imagination. Breaking out into song at this point, 4 seasons in, is not the strangest thing that has happened in the show. The Dear White People creator continued, I'm a musical snob, so there's Jacqueline Moore, who's the showrunner. The first thing that a musical snob believes about a musical is there gotta be reality integrated reason for the characters to be singing. I just wanted to make a big old musical and I needed to lean into something I passionately wanted to do for this final season and it felt appropriate. It felt like the perfect way to distill the metaphor of having to put on a show as a person of color, of having to sort of tap dance for people, of finding a way to express what's really inside. All these things were so typical of musicals, were also typical of my Black experience at least, and the way I wanted to portray their journey this season. So that's really where it started from, and the more we talked about it, the more it made sense. it didn't make sense, honey. Whatever message you were trying to do, whatever deep thing, it didn't work. Because I said most of the time the music felt weird and your actors cannot sing. And that's okay, because that's not what they signed up for. It's just like, no. Because the music is what really took you out of the plot of this season. At least for me, it was very distracting and annoying. Like, nah, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. And it was just as bad as I thought. It was just like, maybe it's not going to be that bad. But when I watched that first episode, well, first there was a trailer or like a sneak peek, and I saw them singing Pretty Brown Eyes, and I said, oh boy. And then I saw Sam's character and her boyfriend breaking up to singing Bye, 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 and I said, oh, this is bad.
Tonight you're probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right.
Hey, baby, come on.
Oh, why? Ew. And then I watched the first 2 episodes and I just wanted to vomit. I just wanted to vomit. Like, I just, what is this? Why? And so it was just like, I couldn't do it. And it's like, I wish I could tell y'all like an in-depth analysis of the 4th season, but like I said, it was just too cringy and it was pissing me off to high heaven. Maybe one day I will garner up the stomach to watch the final season. Maybe I just have to, because I try to skip through the musical parts, but it's just like, it's hard because it's just like, it just, every time like it'll be a serious moment and they just start freaking singing and I'm like, and then I also don't like the fact that they did like this time jump thing where they're going in they're in the future currently, but they keep going back to the past and back to the future and back to the past. And I'm just like, I get it. I guess it's trying to help you like find out what happened to these characters in the future while also telling the story of the senior year. But like, y'all don't do it right. Like something is disconnecting here to where it's very distracting. Like, are we in the present? Or are we in the past? We can't be doing both. Like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Like, it's just not interesting. And I don't care what they're doing in the future. Like, who cares? Y'all could have just did a whole future episode. Y'all could have still told the story of them trying to make, like, a musical about their, you know, off of Lionel's books or whatever without doing this throughout the thing. Same thing with the musical thing. Like, it didn't have to be every episode. It could just been the last episode. Still would have been cringy as hell, but at least it would have been bearable. Like, no. And so that's just what it is. Like I said, this show was already kind of going rock bottom from 3rd season, but I definitely thought it was going to, you know, get the magic that we got from 1st and 2nd season in this last season, and we simply did not do that. And it just felt at this point like no one cared about the show anymore. Like, no one. Because it was just like, the last season of a show is supposed to tie up loose ends. It's supposed to, you know, give us the finale, the end to all these characters' journeys, you know, finish up their arcs, find out, you know, like I said, like give us some lasting impressions that you weren't able to do in previous seasons, especially in a show like this that was so like, you know, trying to expose the Black experience in post-racial America, in predominantly white spaces, and, you know, do a commentary on how Black kids are treated in these places and the challenges they go through. And like, especially in the last year, there was so much freaking there to explore. And I mean, even like, I'm shocked that this show never really talked about political stuff. Like, you know, like to be a college kid, to be a Black kid, or even just other minority on a white campus in Trump era, what a moment. Like, what a time. What a horrible time to be alive. But like, there was so much material there that I wish they would explore it in season 3 at least. And they never did. Because there's so much with that. Like, and then on top of that, the year that we had last year with race and the COVID and all those things. And even though I don't like COVID storylines that much, it would have been interesting to see how it would have played out on the Winchester campus. And there's just so much to be said about people who are masked and anti-mask and vax and anti-vax, or even just navigating what college is like in a COVID world. Like, there was just so much there that we chose not to do. like in the future they're, you know, going through a pandemic, but it's like in a futuristic type of way. Like, and they're no longer in college, so it doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, and it feels like after 4 seasons, I still rarely know these characters. The only character I guess that I can say I probably know the most is Sam, because she gets the most screen time. And I feel like she has probably gone through the most growth over the 4 seasons. But still, like Joelle, I feel like what an underutilized, amazing character that basically got paid dust. Like, I feel like they tried to give her the most in this last season, at least from the little bit that I saw. But I felt like Joelle was a character I still did not know because, like I said, first 2 seasons, she was just basically Sam's sidekick. And then third season, she was Reggie's emotional blanket. And I feel like 4th season, she's still that. And then they gave her a little side plot with her taking on too many things at once. That's the kind of seems like her arc for the season. It's just like too little too late, and I don't care. Like, I already don't like the fact that y'all made the darker skin character, the designated dark skin best friend, to the biracial lighter skin character. Like, we've seen this movie 1,000 times, and I'm not here for it. And like I said, she rarely really got anything to do. Even when they gave her the Dear White People radio show in 3rd season, you rarely saw her doing anything. It didn't really change anything. Like, and then she ended up quitting at the end of it all anyway, which didn't make any sense because it was just like, what were you overwhelmed by? Like, you didn't do anything. And then you made Reggie be like hopelessly in love with Sam for relatively 2 seasons. And when he literally could not have Sam, he settled for Joelle. And once again, it's just teaching dark-skinned women to settle. Like, I'm sorry not to be the person, but I have to be that person because colorism is everywhere. Like, please. And you have to be mindful in how you portray dark-skinned women in your television shows, especially when Netflix has a great history with giving dark-skinned women nothing. And, you know, for the one show that actually has darker-skinned main characters, like, you had a job to do and you didn't do it. And I was never here for Joelle and Reggie's relationship. Like, I just hated it. I hated it for her, hated it down. And also with Reggie, I just feel like y'all took way too long to like address the mental health stuff. Like, it's like y'all kind of done it. Like, you showed like his PTSD in like season 2, and in season 3 he was trying to cope with it in a healthy way, but then he ended up just leaning, like, the one person that he could have leaned on, like the other positive black male figure, was a freaking rapist. So, and he needs to go to therapy, like serious therapy. And there's so much conversations to be had about Black men's mental health, especially on college campuses. And like I said, even if they do explore that in the 4th season, y'all took way too damn long to do that. Like, way too long. Because the whole incident happened 1st season. Like, say that if he went to therapy in season 2, everyone would have been right with the world. But I'm just saying, if we would have saw Reggie actively going to therapy and give him other challenges in life, like I said, senior year, there's so much challenges there. There's a lot of identity crisis because, like, when, you know, the part of your world that you knew for 4 years is not coming to an end. People having job issues, and I see them trying to do that 1st episode, but like, let's do that. Let's focus on that. And not to mention just regular, just interpersonal relationship, student loan debt, like so many things to be explored. And we chose to sing. We chose to sing. Why? Why? And it just sucks because I feel like it's going to be forever before we get another, like, you know, black or movie about black people in college again. Like, I just feel like it's not a thing. And I know Grownish exists, but I told y'all, I don't rock with Mr. Colorist Kenya. I don't do it. And that show is childish to me. Like, I feel like if you were to compare the 2 shows, even though, like I said, I feel like this show is more satirical and Grownish is more like the typical sitcom type of thing, I feel like it's just like Grownish is just not good. It's just not good. It's like, it feels like it could have been set in high school. Like, nothing really is tying these characters to being in college other than them doing things like having apartments and things. Like, there's nothing really college-esque about that show. It's not really hitting on anything important. I'm sorry. And there's too much damn white people in that show for my liking. Sorry. So sorry to the whites. But yeah, like, it's going to be a while before we get another, because like I said, I feel like a lot of these shows, these, you know, studios or whatever are more interested in showing the high school experience than the actual, like, young adult and college experience, even though there's so much to be explored there. And I just wish that studios, instead of employing people that are college age to be in high school, I wish that y'all would just put people in college, because you can literally do the same thing, and there's so much to be said about things that are happening with young people in college, and y'all just ignore it every time. And especially, like I said, with Black people. So it's just unfortunate. And like I said, to get back to Mr. Justin Simeon has been on my hit list since last year when he made that atrocity that was bad hair. I made a video about the whole movie, but basically the movie is about a girl in the 1980s, and she gets her sewing for the first time, and the sewing is evil and is bloodthirsty and just starts killing folks. That is the movie. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. That is dead the plot. And that movie just pissed me off to high heaven, because it just had this like hoteppy, condescending type of tone to it. Like, I felt like he was trying to pull a Jordan Peele, where he was doing a horror film, but it was based on, like, you know, society, like a critique on society and stuff. But like, no. No, you don't have the range, because at the end of the day, the relationship with Black women and their hair is much more complex than what they were trying to make it seem in that movie. And there's historical context between why Black women are not, don't have the best relationship with their hair, because, you know, white supremacy and racism and slavery, and the fact that there are many women in this world right now, Black women, who cannot go to work with a full-blown afro or their hair in its natural state, because it's still redeemed as or is still deemed as unkept and unprofessional, and they will literally get fired. And there are little girls who cannot go to school without getting harassed by white kids trying to touch their hair, or, like I said, once again, them seeing it as unkept, unprofessional, and distracting. There literally had to be a law put in place for Black girls to wear their hair to school. So for you to sit there and talk like, and furthermore, more Black women have their hair natural than anything else. So like, what are we getting at here? And why was the movie set in the 1980s? So many questions that never got answered. So many. That movie was just awful. It was so awful. But ever since then, I was already like, to Mr. Justin. But this is the icing on the cake. This was the icing on the cake. And the thing that made it crazy was like, when the whole Dave Chappelle debacle was going on and people found out that like, one of the writers of like Dear White People were talking about it or something. And then they were like, the Dear White People creators are white? Like, or one of the like writers or something on the show, and it's like, that makes so much sense and whatever. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, in the past, there has been shows where the creator of the show or writers on the show have been white, and it's fine. Like I said, I remember I talked to y'all about Norman Lear, and Norman Lear was a person who made, a lot of the most iconic sitcoms of the 60s and 70s, such as like All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times. And Good Times and The Jeffersons are one of the most Blackish shows ever. And for a white creator, the show still felt authentically Black because he had Black people giving their input. So I'm never one to say that like white people cannot write on Black shows, but it definitely makes sense on some of the moves that they were making. Also, the writing kind of just sucked this season. Like, it was a lot of like trying to do these weird references, and so that definitely felt like white people writing a Black show type of energy. Like, it felt very much we're trying to pander to Black folks but also make white people comfortable, and it was just like, why did we do that? But all in all, Netflix dropped the ball on this one. And it really sucks because Netflix has technically been killing it lately. As much as I don't want to say that, I mean, it hasn't been killing it in every aspect, if you know what I'm talking about. But as terms of other like shows, like I just recently watched the new season of You, and it was amazing. And On My Block, which I'm about to talk about right after this, was pretty good. And Blood and Water had its second season recently, and it was good. Never Have I Ever had a new season a couple months ago, and it was good. Like Squid Games, all these other good things, and then we get this garbage. And like I said, technically it's not all on Netflix because it's Mr. Justin who decided he wanted to do a musical. He wanted to be in his Glee bag, and it's just like, and then 90s to be like, it felt like you were trying to get us with the 90s musicals, but it's like music, and I'm like, no, because in the 90s niggas was singing. You can't just sing. Even the white people, even the Backstreet Boys, they were singing. Like, no. Why? I just want to know. He will pay for it. Justin Simeon, even though you probably will never watch this video, you will pay for your crimes. You sabotaged an incredible series. And every time you look on that little Strong Black lead page and they be posting Dear White People stuff and people kept commenting like, this ain't it, honey. Like, we do a redo, this and that. Like, it's just so funny. But like I said, it's just so unfortunate to watch one of your favorite shows just end like that. Like, it just sucks. But let me know, did y'all watch the like whole season? Like, would you watch season 4? Did you watch Dear White People? How did you feel about this final season? Did you like the musical? How do you think everything ended? Let me know your thoughts and comments down below in the comments. And I will definitely see y'all in my next video.